least I'll have Elliot doing music.
Yes,
It's funny, and everybody thinks it's weird but I'm to the point where I'd rather just leave the service and somebody else do the music. It's not like I don't play music. I'm in two
you can
bands.
play it outside of.
I mean, I just don't.
Well, every once in a while when you do play the music, Harper loves hearing you play. She talks about it for the entire week afterwards. So
Okay.
she loves it.
Harper's got me wrapped around her little finger, so.
Well, that's Sadie.
Huh?
So that's Sadie right there.
Yeah.
Well, she don't have a lot of my husband's father, we talked to him, but he's not a real talkative guy. He's always been here. We used to go see him once a week even when we lived in Arkansas, and it was just long enough for him to go, oh, such a cute baby, and then you go back inside. And then my dad's not really involved, so when she talks about having a grandpa or anybody asks about grandparents, it's you she talks about.
Wow.
She
You have
loves
no
you.
idea how honored I am.
She loves you very, very much.
Lady, hey, Nancy. Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, could I talk you into lighting the candles?
Of course. Of course.
You want me to do that right away?
Oh, let's first start with the Hine Matov. I know there's nobody here to sing it other than us, but I kind of feel like the people online would expect it. Okay, are we ready? Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to services at Temple Shalom, where we're holding down the fort while a good portion of our membership is in Cincinnati on this trip. And we'll start with Hine Matov. Hine Matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Please turn to page 2, where we will light the Shabbat candles. I've got one out there for you.
Oh, you got one. You were like super prepared.
I had the time.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahad le'ner shel Shabbat.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat. We're going to turn to page 6, and we're going to read these 2 paragraphs at the top together. We enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. And we'll read together at the bottom of the page 9, starting with "We offer thanks." We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. We're going to turn to page 30, and the reason we're not doing the Baruch Hu is that you're supposed to have a minyan in order to do that, so we will skip that today. And we will read in the middle of the page together. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. Please turn to page 32. And we will sing together. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Avta, Amcha Avta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Al Kain Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbeinu u'vkumeinu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratcha u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem nege yomam balayla, nege yomam balayla, v'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael, Ohev Amo Yisrael. On the next page, we recite the watchword of our faith, page 34. Please, everyone, please rise for this. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Please be seated. And Together, we'll recite the V'ahavta on page 36. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha vehayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom alevavecha veshinantam levanecha vedibarta bam beshiftecha beveitecha uvlechtecha vaderech uveshochbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha vehayu letotafot beinenecha Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tiskiru vasitem et kol mitzvotai vitem kadoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem Me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem Elohim, ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem emet. We're going to turn to page 46. We're going to do the tefillah, otherwise known as the Amidah. Again, we do need to stand. Harper, would you like to help open this? Open the...
Come on up.
You have to make use of good labor when you got it.
That's right. That's why we brought her here, so she can do that.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chasdei Avot ve'imahot, Umevi Gula livnei vneihem, Leman Shemo ve'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol atah Rav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofech olim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Micha mocha ba'al gevurot, Umidom elach, Melech meimit umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, B'neman atalach hayot hakol, Baruch Baruch Ata Adonai Mechaye HaKol. Ata Kadosh v'Shimcha Kadosh U'Kadoshim B'chol Yom Yalalucha Selah. Baruch Ata Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated.
Good job.
Excellent job. Thank you, Harper. Now we're going to okay. I'm going to read a paragraph in Hebrew on page 58, and then on 59, we'll start on the English at the top of the page. Modim anachnu lach she'ata hu Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elokei avotenu ve'imotenu olam va'ed tzur chayenu magen yish'enu ata hu ledor vador. Together at the top of page 59. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch Ata Adonai, Hatov Shimcha Ulecha Na'eh Lehodot. Page 60 at the top, we'll sing Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov ve'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. We're going to go to page 253. Not sure why I took it off other than the fact it's more comfortable. But this is, as I keep saying, and people are tired of hearing, I consider this one of the two most important prayers from my standpoint. One was the Via Hafta, this is the other, where we're praying for the health and recovery of people. And on our Misha Beirach list tonight, we are praying for Sherry Davies, Leah Dolman, Malia Willis, Judy Yesowich, Lev Dickerman, Carla Dunbar, Gila Neria, Bryce Schulten, David Gould, Sandy Hall, John Lermit, Nash Zayed, Renee Sackerman, Fran Diamond, Ricky Haynes, Robbie Haynes, Rich Goldwyn, Madeline Spalding, Christine Taylor, Maria Rosenberg, Wes Gersh, men and women of the U.S. Armed Forces, men and women of the IDF, hailing for all of the hostages and their loved ones. And as I point to you, just feel free to add anybody that you feel needs the blessing. That's wonderful.
The injured in the UPS crash.
Mi sheberach avotenu mekar habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. The Parsha of the week has to do with Abraham and Sarah more than anything else. And there's quite a few things that happen in that Parsha. First of all, Abraham is talking to God. He's trying to save the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. It says, whereas even if there were one righteous person, in Sodom and Gomorrah, how can he kill the whole city? Well, they ended up with a compromise. Lot and his wife and their daughters left. At any rate, an interesting side note of that, his daughter, when they escaped, of course, Lot's wife was turned to salt, and his daughters became convinced they were the only ones left in the world, so they ended up getting their father drunk, seducing him, and in effect, that's where those were the people who, those sons started the Moab, and I believe the Hittites. I'm not exactly sure of the second one. But the important thing about this is that he was talking to God, and strangers come to his door. And Abraham asked God to please not to leave him, to stay, but he needs to attend to these strangers. So he shows his hospitality, not knowing that those strangers were actually the three angels of Michael, Gabriel, and Raziel. And there is a lesson in that, because I'm not going to go through everything that happened in the Parsha, because the lesson comes from this, where he asked God to excuse him, that he wanted to resume the conversation, but he needed to check on his guests. The lesson that the rabbis say comes from this is that your obligation to take care of your fellow human beings is even more important than having an audience with God. It's a very short and simple lesson, but this is the one that most of the rabbis chose to focus on. There are other things there where they tell him that because of this, he and Sarah were going to finally have that child. Which is interesting because at the time that Isaac was born, Sarah was 90 and Abraham was 100. Must have been something in the water in those days, because I can't figure it out. But at any rate, that is the lesson from the Parsha of the week. And now Nancy's going to read the announcements for us.
Okay, I'm going to read some announcements. There are no Saturday services this week because
Nobody's here.
Nobody's here, right? So volunteer appreciation dinner and Shabbat, recognizing all the people who make Temple Shalom so special, will be held Friday, November 21st with dinner at 5:30 and services at 7. And it's a catered meal, so everybody needs to RSVP, and the link is in the email blast. We have Bagels, Lox, and Torah, BLT at the J, November 22nd, December 20th, January 17th, and February 14th. We have our next congregational meeting December 7th, which is a Sunday here, starting with breakfast at 9:30, meeting at 10:30. So everybody is encouraged to come. We also have a limited number of grave sites available in our section of Cave Hills, so please contact Matt Doctorow if you are interested in purchasing that. More details are in the email blast this week. Thank you to Aviv for leading services and Ivy for her first streaming, and thank you to Megan and Harper for being here. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. We're going to turn to page 294, but before we engage in that, because this is the prayer for our ancestors as we remember them. And we think of our loved ones who death has recently taken from us or who died at this season in years past. And we're talking about Bonnie Beiser, Dorothy Brown, Larry Cohen, Ethel Ginsburg, Solomon Goldman, Charles Goldwyn, Ernst Hershkowitz, Sidney Heimson, Rita Marilyn Jorish, Marek Klawans, Hal Levine, Morris Lipschutz, Joe Mash, John Penner, Harold Joseph Rosenberg, Esther Simons, Michael Steinman, Edward Zimmerman. May their memories be for a blessing. And at Harper's request, we're going to, before we do the Kaddish, we're going to do You Got to Move. You got to move, you got to move. You got to move, child, you got to move. When the Lord gets ready, you got to move. You might be rich, you might be poor, you might be high, child, you might be low. When the Lord gets ready, well, you got to move. You got to move. You got to move. You got to move, child. You got to move. When the Lord gets ready, well, you got to move. See that woman, she's walked down the street. See that policeman, he's walking his beat. When the Lord gets ready, well, you got to move. You got to move. You got to move. You got to move, child. You got to move. When the Lord gets ready, well, you got to move. Please rise as we recite the Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, bi'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam leolmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal. Shmei dekudesha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shamaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. And we're going to end our service with Bim Bam. Bim, bam, bim, 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 bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, bam, bim, 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 bam, bim, 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Bim, bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam. Bim, bam, bim, 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 bam, bim, 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 bam. Shabbat Shalom.